Hi, everyone. The topic of my presentation for today is classroom management in the digital classroom. Here's our agenda for this presentation. We're going to start with a brief introduction of myself, some inspiration, and we're going to talk about what does it mean to be ready for digital learning. So first off, a brief introduction. Hi, everyone. My name is Kia Shields. I am a first grade teacher with Gainesville Virtual Academy, and this is actually my second year of teaching, and I'm excited about that. And here's my Bitmoji below. Okay. Since I am a virtual teacher, I utilize Bitmoji quite often. Okay. So teachers, we're first going to do a daily check-in just to see where you are about learning about digital learning for your online classroom. So teachers, I want you to pick an emoji that describes how you feel right now. Do you feel maybe you feel happy? You may feel a little worried about what this presentation really is going to be about. You may feel bummed. You may feel a little scared about learning some new information. You may feel a little stressed right now, sad, or maybe even confused, wondering what is this presentation really going to be about? Okay? The teachers, by the end of this presentation, I hope that everyone either be very happy, this emoji here, or maybe even excited to get to implement some of these strategies and ideas in your very own digital learning classroom. So let's get started. So teachers, here is how your class may look like here in 2020 this school year with maybe remote learning. Okay. So I picked this meme. This is of the Brady Bunch. Some of you may be familiar with the Brady Bunch. And I was thinking that maybe the Brady Bunch maybe was the first actual people that did all this Zoom stuff before it even was created back in the 1970s. So your classroom may look like this during Zoom or Google Meet meetings. And as teachers, we might be like this picture here on the right. It says me trying to figure out how to use distant learning. So we might be like a little elderly person with our bifocals. We're trying to really focus in how can we get this digital learning down? But here, Ms. Shields, I'm ready to show you how we can conquer this. Okay. And so teachers, like I said before, I want to start off with some inspiration. Okay. And here's a picture of Miss Rita Pearson. And Miss Pearson, she is an educator. She was teaching since 1972. And so she was an educator. She was also an author and a motivational speaker. And sadly, she passed away 7 years ago in 2013. But I want to show some inspiration, a video from one of her TED Talks. Okay. Mhm. Mhm. It gives us a little slow. It gives it a minute. Okay. So here it is. Okay. We're just going to watch this short clip.
We know why kids don't learn. It's either poverty, low attendance, negative peer influences. We know why. But one of the things that we never discuss, or we rarely discuss, is the value and importance of human connection. Relationships. James Comer says that no significant learning can occur without a significant relationship. George Washington Carver says all learning is understanding relationships. Everyone in this room has been affected by a teacher or an adult. For years, I have watched people teach. I have looked at the best and I've looked at some of the worst. A colleague said to me one time, they don't pay me to like the kids. They pay me to teach a lesson. The kids should learn it. I should teach it. They should learn it. Case closed. Well, I said to her, you know, kids don't learn from people they don't like. Can we stand to have more relationships? Absolutely. Will you like all your children? Of course not. And you know your toughest kids are never absent. Never. You won't like them all, and the tough ones show up for a reason. It's the connection, it's the relationships. And while you won't like them all, the key is they can never, ever know it. So teachers become great actors and great actresses, and we come to work when we don't feel like it, and we listen to policy that doesn't make sense, and we teach anyway. We teach anyway because that's what we do. Teaching and learning should bring joy. How powerful would our world be if we had kids who were not afraid to take risks, who were not afraid to think, and who had a champion? Every child deserves a champion, an adult who will never give up on them, who understands the power of connection and insists that they become the best that they can possibly be. Is this job tough? You betcha. Oh God, you betcha. But it is not impossible. We can do this. We're educators. We're born to make a difference. Thank you so much.
So teachers, that was just a short clip of Ms. Pearson. She just inspires us as teachers. We have to be a champion for our students. And a champion is an adult that would never give up on them and understands that value of connection. So our students can be the very best that I can be. And teachers, we can still do that in an online format. And I'm going to show you how. So teachers, I want to know, are you ready? And teachers, ready is an acronym. You're going to find out why. Why is it an acronym? What does this letter stand for? So are you ready? Since teachers, ready is an acronym. And it has 5 letters. So 5 key ideas that I want you to take from this presentation. First, R in ready means to reset your mindset. E means for expectations. A is asynchronous learning. D is for daily check-ins. And Y, you can do this. Let's start with our letter R, our first letter in our acronym READY. So R, teachers, means to reset your mindset. So teachers, our mindset, our mind controls all of our attitudes, our values, and our beliefs that we have about certain concepts and ideas. So teachers, we may feel that we are in a fixed mindset. So let's look at this picture here on the left of our screen. So a fixed mindset, teachers, is that we often say phrases like, I stick to what I know. So that means that we just stick to the methods that we've and teaching strategies that we've used over the years. And we just know these are good strategies that we can use to teach our students. Or we may also say that I might never improve. Or like here on the bottom phrase, it says I am either good at it or I am not. So thinking in our brains that we're just black or white. Either I got this strategy, I know how to do it perfectly, or I really don't know how to do this strategy. But teachers, we want to shift our mindset and also our students' mindset to a growth mindset. So here on the right side of our screen, the blue mindset, okay? And teachers, our growth mindset is that we encourage learning. And we value our mistakes and we learn from our mistakes. Like it says here below, my mistakes help me grow. And teachers, that is what a phrase that we really need to reiterate and make sure our students truly value, have this mindset that even though we make mistakes, but we can learn from our mistakes. And our mistakes help us become better learners, learning from our mistakes. Or we might also say having a growth mindset that we learn from feedback that we see here in this phrase. And teachers, feedback is so important for our students. We've heard for years that feedback needs to be constructive and effective. So teachers, when we say to our students, oh, that's a good job, or you did great, Larry, or you did great, Susan, that's not really telling the students what did they do great on. We might need to say, Hey, Susan, I love that you started your sentence with a capital letter and you ended with a period. So we need to give students more concrete feedback instead of just like, good job, or you can do this better. But students need to know what exactly they need to improve on. And teachers, I've learned, I remember my student teaching, what I've learned 2 years ago was that students, they need to have grows and glows. The grows are things that we need to improve on, areas of improvement, but also teachers, we need to tell the students their glows, like stuff that they did really well on. Okay? So teachers, we want to shift our mindset, reset our mindset to, instead of being a fixed mindset, to be more of a growth mindset. And teachers, I have been learning more about growth mindset, how to develop a growth mindset through this book by Donna Wilson and Marcus Conyers. And this is called Developing Growth Mindsets, Principles and Practices for maximizing Students' Potential. And teachers, I've been reading this book along with my faculty and staff, and it has been a great read for our professional learning on Wednesdays. And in this book, I really encourage you to read it. It helps you think about how can you shift your fixed mindset to a growth mindset. And some strategies that I've learned that's really important that I would like for you to implement is that learning from your mistakes and the feedback. As teachers, as I said before, the mistakes, we have to teach our students that it's okay to mess up. Like, for instance, I think of like a pencil. We have the pointed end and we also have the eraser. It's okay to erase, but fix your mistakes. We have to learn from our mistakes. And also about feedback. Like I said earlier, our feedback has to be very constructive. We can't just say good job to our student. They need to know both their growths and both their glows. And teachers, we also have to reset our mindset on how we face challenges. So, teachers, as I said in my brief introduction, that this is my second year of teaching, and I am teaching totally 100% virtual with Gainesville Virtual Academy. And through this learning and experience, I have learned how to embrace challenges. And I had to reset my mindset. So, teachers, I was used to just in the classroom, like printing out copies for students, like more that student engagement, physical engagement, but I have to shift my mindset to go to more of how can I do this in a virtual platform. And I agree, I'm not going to say it wasn't hard. It has been challenging, but I've learned to embrace that challenges. And I feel like this experience has made me a greater educator all around, like teaching in person and also or face-to-face instruction and also virtual learning. It's been a lot of growing experience for me. And teachers, we also have to embrace productive struggle. So here's one I had to personally learn how to manage because with productive struggle as a teacher, we always want to jump in when the first sign of our kids struggle. Like I can think of like last year when I was teaching face to face with first grade, like all my students, they might struggle with math, and I'm the teacher that automatically want to jump in and help them, but I had to step back and let them learn. Like they have to do the productive struggle, which will help them with their developing their thinking progress. So that is very important. So teachers, we have to do our letter R. We have to reset your mindset from a fixed mindset to more of a growth mindset for ourselves and also our students. So, teachers, now we're to our second letter, letter E, in our READY acronym. So, E stands for expectations. And, teachers, I cannot stress of the most utmost importance that expectations are so valuable and so important, especially in an online setting. So, teachers, here's some things I put some bullet points what we should think about implementing either in our online or remote learning classroom. We have to think about attendance. Now, here's a big one. So, with teachers with attendance, we have to figure out how often we want kids to log on to our platforms. Like, for instance, teachers, if we're using these applications here below on the left side of your screen, if we're using either Zoom or Google Meet. Now, if we choose one, say we choose Zoom, We want to know, are the students required to log in to all of our Zooms each day? Are they just log on to one Zoom and then complete the work? We have to figure that out, set that expectation. Okay? And also, teachers, another part is how to submit assignments. That's very important. So, teachers, we need to see if we're using an LMS platform. Like, are we using Google Classroom or even like a Canvas modules or website? We have to set the expectation how to turn in assignments. Do you want pictures of assignments? Do you want them just to complete online work? So, teachers, you have to set the expectation right from the beginning with your students, and also absent work. For instance, with Gainesville Virtual Academy, we utilize the Google Classroom platform. And Google Classroom is a great application because it works with Google. Because since our schools also use a lot of Google platforms, and teachers, we can upload assignments on Google Classroom and actually has a setting where we can schedule assignments. And we just have to make sure our videos are recorded for absent work. So all those things we have to take into consideration. And teachers, we also have to think of different, like the expectations for the actual class. Like here is like I use my Bitmoji, and here are some different expectations you can implement in your classroom. Like students need to be on time to the Zoom or Google Meet sessions. They need to mute themselves, and I have found that is a very important rule to mute yourselves, because for Zoom and Google Meet, the online class picks up maybe a lot of background noises, and that's why it's very important we sit. We encourage students to sit somewhere with good lighting and it's quiet so they're all focused for learning. And always to keep your camera on so we know you're participating, raising your hand. That's another expectation. So, teachers, we just have to take the time to teach those expectations, just like how we do during the first week of school in an in person or face to face classroom. Have to do the same here in a virtual learning classroom as well. Okay? And teachers, we have to think about features and online tools. Like, for instance, with Zoom, they has a chat feature. And if you want your students to use the chat, you have to first teach them how to use it and also how to use it appropriately. That's a key thing as well. And also feedback, teachers. That's important because I know with myself, I use the Mote application, and Mote is a part of the Google Chrome extension. It's a little purple icon, and you can use voice recordings, which is very helpful. It's helpful, especially for the younger kids, to hear the teacher's feedback, which would be like the same if they get in an online or in a face-to-face classroom. Okay? So, teachers, we've learned about R and our ready, and R means to reset our mindsets from a fixed to a growth mindset. We've learned about E, our expectations for our class in our online format. And also here we're to A. And A is asynchronous learning. And teachers, asynchronous means that the learning is more independent. It's not happening in real time. Okay. Students have more independent work, such as they engage in online discussion boards where they can collaborate with their peers. They also can listen to podcasts and also research and explore. So I like to use with my Gainesville Virtual Academy students like little web quests, and students can go on Google, look for different pictures, and post it to a Google Slide. So that's a very fun activity that students love when learning about in the different content areas. And also, one important one is watch video instruction. So, teachers, you have to get your students used to watching a video and responding to that. They might complete a Google slide about it or a discussion based question if they're in the upper grade, DBQs. So, all those different things we have to think about. Also, deadlines that we have here. Do you want students to submit work every day for a grade or on a weekly basis? And also student engagement, that's very key component in digital learning. You have to keep the kids engaged. They want to be, you got to get them excited about learning. I know, like, if we, like, for instance, we just had a Red Ribbon Week a few weeks ago, like wearing a hat to get the kids to get excited. So switching it up a little bit. So teachers, we have to think of outside the box to to get our students engaged in an online learning format. And also, teachers, it's very important we have prepared resources because with asynchronous, I got it, asynchronous learning, that resources has to be prepared. If we're using like platforms like Google Classroom, we have to make sure as teachers we're on the point. We got it together. We have to have our assignments uploaded, like and make sure it's all working. It's not just like in a regular class, we can just run and make copies. We can't do that in a whole lot of classroom. We have to make sure everything's uploaded right. Our videos are shared correctly. I know it's a fire montage. I had to write me a note to keep to have it shared instead of the school, but to the whole district. So all of my kids can see it from all the different schools. The teachers, we just have to make sure we're on it. We have to have prepared resources such as videotape the lessons, assignments, just so we can be prepared as we can be for our students so they can be the best that they can be. Okay. And so teachers, here's just a little snippet of what my Google Classroom looks like. And teachers, you can personalize your Google Classroom. Like I set mine with my Bitmoji Classroom as the Google Classroom banner. And for Google Classroom, they have sections such as the stream. That's where all the assignments go. Well, all the assignments, notifications, or any class assignments you want to send out, our classwork, where are the assignments, the people, those are the students in your classroom. And also, it includes all the co-teachers that you might add. You might add your paraprofessionals as a co-teacher. You might even add your academic coaches or even your principal and assistant principal. Those are all great people to add to your Google Classroom. And also your grading is here. And this is, as I said before, using Google Classroom. So teachers, now I'm going to show you what an asynchronous learning lesson will look like. And this is one of my writing lessons. So my students will watch this video and complete an assignment. And we're going to watch just a short snippet of it. Mhm. Mhm. Here we go. Hi, students. Today, we're going to begin reading an informational book about a very interesting man named Benjamin Franklin. The title of our book is Now and Then, and it was written by Jean Beretta. The author, Jean Beretta, shows many of Benjamin Franklin's inventions that are still used today, even though Benjamin Franklin lived over 200 years ago. Students, as Ms. Shields is reading, I want you to help me to make a list of Benjamin Franklin's inventions. And we're going to put our list here in our chart. Okay? Some of the inventions are called things that we'll write here. And some inventions are ideas and that we'll write here. Okay? You're going to help me decide. Okay? So while I'm reading, I want you to listen to the inventions and we're going to add them to our chart. Okay? Students, this book takes us through time from one invention and to the next. It also shows us how Benjamin Franklin's inventions are still used today, more than 2 centuries later. Okay. Later, students, I will ask you to write about 3 things that Benjamin Franklin invented. And you can use our chart that we create as you write. Okay. So students, here's our book, Now and Then, The Modern Inventions of Benjamin Franklin. Okay. Now and then, we think about Ben, Dr. Benjamin Franklin, to be precise, and we think about all his many inventions he originated more than 200 years ago. Students, why do you think that we still use some of Benjamin Franklin's inventions today? Think about, why would we use some of his inventions? Maybe they're really helpful for us now here in 2020. It was as if Ben could see into the future. Almost everything that he created is still around today. For instance, now newspapers are filled with illustrations. Okay. Students, raise your hand if you have seen cartoons in newspapers. Okay. So students, a newspaper is something that you read to learn about what's happening. So students, Ms. Shields has a copy of the Times. That is the newspaper for here in Gainesville. And students, inside of our newspaper, okay, there are illustrations or pictures, okay? And these are called comics, okay? So these are like different little funny little pictures artists draw. So some of you may know Peanuts. Yeah? So that's one of our comics, okay? So Benjamin Franklin, thanks to Benjamin Franklin, we have pictures in our newspaper. So we have like a comic section. Okay, let's keep reading. Ben was the first to print a political cartoon in America. The cartoon encouraged the American colonies to join together or die like a disconnected snake. Okay. So here's his political cartoon. Okay, so students, let's add to our chart. Okay. So far, we have that Benjamin Franklin helped put pictures in the newspapers or illustrations. Okay. So students, the pictures or illustrations in the newspaper, let's think, is that a thing or an idea? So students, that would be a thing, because that's something we can touch, a thing. So let's add that here in our chart. So newspapers, with pictures. So like our comics, so with pictures. And we'll put pictures or cartoons with pictures. Okay. Okay. So teachers, that was just a snippet of what asynchronous learning looks like. So students will watch the writing video, then they will complete the assignment on Google Classroom. Okay. So teachers, now we're to daily check-ins. Okay. Daily check-ins help us as the teachers know how well our students are doing. Okay. Because some disadvantages of asynchronous learning that we just learned about, that students and teachers, we may feel isolated due to not the physical contact with our peers. And it requires a lot of self-discipline, a lot of independent work and self-motivation students have to have, and maybe the lack of instant feedback. And so teachers, I would recommend one strategy for your Zoom or Google Meet sessions. You can just pull up a picture of like emojis and have students in their chat box type if they are happy today. They may be frustrated, worried, excited, surprised, nervous, just so teachers, we can know as a quick formative assessment how our students are doing. And having healthy well-being is so important for both teachers and for students. And teachers, here is some self-care that on here on the left for students. Students can do an exercise. They can do some jumping jacks if they need to. They can sit in a comfy spot. They can think happy spot, listen to music, take deep breaths in and out. And as teachers here on the right side for us, One thing I really want to point out is to take a break when we need it. So teachers and educators, we are so awesome for inspiring and educating our next generation of maybe doctors, lawyers, important leaders in our society. So it's important we take a break when we need one. And also, I want to point out one more thing is that we need to leave work at work and life in our home life at home. We need to have that balance. And remember that we need to start fresh each and every day. So each day I always say is a clean slate for myself as a teacher and also for our students as well. Okay. So teachers, we've learned about our READY acronym. And READY is our R. We need to reset our mindset from a fixed to a growth mindset. We need to have expectations for our classes in an online format. We need to have asynchronous learning that's engaging for our students. We need to have daily check-ins to make sure our well-being as teachers are good and also as students as well. And we're ending with why that you can do this. So teachers, I started out with this picture here in the beginning of my presentation that we're trying to sift the waters, trying to figure out what exactly is distant learning or online learning. But teachers, remember, like we are the same teacher as we've always been, but now we're taking our learning with different tools. Okay? So teachers, here's my references. Here's the book that I referenced to, Developing Growth Mindset, which is a great read. And here is the video of Rita Pearson if you want to look more about her and Every Child Needs a Champion, the TED Talk. And I want to say thank you for this opportunity for allowing me to provide some professional development for teachers here in our district. And a reminder, my name is Miss Shields, Kia Shields, first grade teacher, Gainesville Virtual Academy. And here's my contact information, my email, if you want to contact me more about how to create a classroom management and digital learning classroom. So I want to say thank you. Mhm.